Why did the Israelites spend 40 years in the desert if the journey only took days? The biblical story and the truth behind the waiting. The Bible tells the story of the people of Israel spending 40 years wandering in the desert before entering the Promised Land. But what many people don't know is that this journey was never meant to take that long. Geographically, the distance from Egypt to Canaan could have been crossed in just a few weeks, yet the journey stretched on for decades. And that raises an unsettling question. Why did God allow such a delay? Shortly after being freed from slavery in Egypt, the Israelites witnessed extraordinary miracles. The sea was parted. Their enemies were defeated. The promise seemed closer than ever. But in the desert, something began to change. The Bible describes a people who started to complain constantly. They missed the food of Egypt. They questioned Moses' leadership. They doubted God's promises, even after seeing clear signs of his power. The desert was not just a physical place. It was a process. It was there that God tested their obedience, faith, and hearts. They received manna daily, learning to depend on God one day at a time. Water flowed from the rock. A pillar of fire guided them at night. A cloud covered them by day. Still, when the time came to enter the Promised Land, many were afraid. 12 spies were sent. 10 returned, filled with fear. Only 2 trusted that God would fulfill his promise. The result was a harsh consequence. That generation would not enter the Promised Land. The 40 years in the desert were not a random punishment. They were the time required for a new generation to be formed, a generation that would learn to trust, obey, and walk by faith. The truth behind this story is simple, yet uncomfortable. Sometimes the promise is already prepared. But the ones who need to change are us. The desert does not delay God's plan. It reveals what still needs to be transformed within us. And perhaps that is the hardest part to accept, because often the journey isn't long. We are just not ready to arrive yet.